Today on Around Kansas, we pay tribute to Jimmy Sweet Lips Wilson and thank Michael Martin Murphey for becoming the honorary chair for the 200th anniversary of the Santa Fe Trail. Next, we're hunting rocks in our wildlife segment. Jamie Bloom is visiting with Marian Stuart and On the Front Porch. Ron Wilson is doing goat yoga, and we'll end with the first of our Native American Heritage Month series.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Deb Goodrich, sitting in my happy place, surrounded by books. And I am drinking from my coffee cup that was a gift from the Hayes Public Library, Brandon Hines. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you to the Hayes Public Library and all the libraries around Kansas and around the country that keep books alive for people like me who depend on them and people who just love them and value learning. Our hats off to you this morning. I have some rather sad news to report on. Our friend Jimmy Sweet Lips Wilson has passed away, and Jimmy was a saxophonist extraordinaire. He was an amazing musician and inductee of the Kansas Music Hall of Fame. Had such a personality, and so many of the comments that I saw online about Jimmy are those that I would agree with, that he had such a generous spirit. He mentored so many young musicians, such a generous spirit, and he just made you feel like part of his family when you met him. So we're deeply saddened to hear of Jimmy's passing. And to honor Jimmy, I can't think of anything better than to support live music, support musicians, support that creative endeavor. Go out in your community, wherever that is around Kansas, and listen to these local musicians, because by golly, we have some phenomenal local musicians. They don't have to be on the big stage to be fantastic, and a lot of these guys and gals give their hearts and souls to their craft and choose to stay local rather than moving to a big city to ply their wares and ply their talents. So let them know that you appreciate them, and I can't think of a better way to honor Jimmy than by doing that. And you can also support the Kansas Music Hall of Fame that helps support these musicians, that gives accolades where they're deserved, that remembers musicians that might otherwise be forgotten, and just celebrates music and the whole creative process. So you can visit their website and join and vote on who you would like to see inducted. We actually have induction ceremonies coming up in April, I think. If you visit the Facebook page and the website, you can find out more details about that. Well, there's so much going on, and of course in the midst of all of it, I've been trying to get my books and papers organized, because I have a lot of work to get done, folks, an awful lot of work with the Santa Fe Trail anniversary coming up in 2021. I wanted to announce that our dear friend Michael Martin Murphey has agreed to be our honorary chairperson for the 200th anniversary of the Santa Fe Trail. We could not be more excited about that. Murph is a history major himself and a tireless proponent of Kansas history, of history of the American West, and he actually created his Murphy Western Institute to honor his pioneering ancestors. That's not about his name, it's about their name. And he just supports so many causes and so many great folks, and we're thrilled to have him on board with the Santa Fe Trail Bicentennial. So Murph, thanks again so much. Stay with us. Got a great show.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
My name's Karen Cope, and I have multiple sclerosis. When you have MS, on the outside you look great, but you know what's really going on in the inside is chronic body pain, chronic fatigue. And there's lots of days that I'd wake up and say, oh, please God, help me get through this day. You know, after stem cells, Chloe, my youngest daughter, she was asked by my father-in-law, how's your mom doing? And Chloe said, Grandpa, I've never had a mom like this before. Because she was 8 when I was diagnosed, and she really had no other memory of me but being sick. It's really the simple things that we do as a family, like play cards, and to be able to win at cards. You know, they all laugh because I used to repeat myself and say, what hand are we on? You know, where are we at? And it's just been really a true blessing from God, and we're really thankful.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
How many of you noticed this lovely snowflake obsidian pin on my scarf here? Isn't that beautiful? I've always loved snowflake obsidian. I love rocks. And we've got, just look at this. These are the ones I found in the junk drawer this morning. And who knows, I picked them up, Jake picked them up, the kids picked them up. Just find cool rocks and stick them in our pockets all the time. And while we're talking about hunting season this fall and winter, I thought it was a perfect time to talk about hunting something that doesn't run usually. It might be a little bit hidden, but it usually doesn't run away. Let's hunt some rocks. My longtime friend Brad Davenport is constantly posting photos of exquisite rocks he has polished, transforming a simple stone into a work of art. Brad will soon be president of the Topeka Gem and Mineral Society, and he shared some tips on rock hunting. The great thing about rock hunting, said Brad, is you can do it almost anywhere. With experience and help, you can start to figure out what is good, bad, and ugly, said Brad. I tell folks to pick up a rock that looks like every other rock, and then pick up a rock that looks completely different. Books about geology are most helpful too. In addition to books, the Kansas Geological Survey is a great resource providing some of the basic information about rocks that are found in Kansas. For example, of the 3 types of rock, sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic, the vast majority at or near the surface in Kansas are sedimentary. Sedimentary rocks most often form when sediment and pieces eroded off other rocks are buried, then pressed and cemented together. However, they may also be formed from chemical sediment that settles out of water or the remains of plants and animals. Sedimentary rocks are laid down in layers called beds, often one on top of another. In Kansas, sediment and sedimentary rocks was first deposited along shorelines or on the floors of seas, deltas, or swamps that covered parts of the state off and on for millions of years, up until about 65 million years ago. After a layer of sediment dried, it eventually was buried under younger layers. As the weight from the overlying sediment increased, lower layers were pressed and cemented into solid rock over time. Depending on the type of sediment deposited, different rocks formed. Limestone, mainly from the mineral calcite that precipitated from water, sandstone, mainly from sand, and shale, mainly from clay. Not all rocks found in Kansas formed there. Unusual rocks that were carried or dropped into the state from other places include layers of volcanic ash carried hundreds of miles by the wind, quartzite boulders dragged in by vast sheets of glacial ice, and meteorites that plunged in from outer space. Rocks are mainly made up of minerals. Most are a mix of minerals. A layer of sandstone, for example, may contain particles of the minerals quartz, calcite, and silica compacted together. Minerals that occur in Kansas are agate, barite, calcite, dolomite, galena, gypsum, halite, lead, marcasite, opal, safflorite, I hope I said that correctly, and zinc. Dr. Jake and I had a wonderful time picking up opals in Osborne County with Von Rothenberger a couple of years ago. Get outdoors wherever you are around Kansas and discover the treasures under your very feet.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Marian Stuart taught school for many years, and one of her favorite memories was teaching at the Broughton, Kansas school. It was a small 2-room schoolhouse located just outside of Clay Center. Marian recalls that it took her a while to get used to having a class filled with students of different ages and grade levels.
I didn't know anything about country school. How did they get 4 grades done in one day?
Right.
I found a lady that taught at Bala, and she was the best help. She helped me get my classes organized. It was great. I loved it, teaching at Broughton.
So you had were you the only teacher there then?
No, Dottie Friesen was the other one.
So there were two of you. And about how many kids then total did you have?
The first year I was there, I had 30 kids.
You had 30 kids?
And I don't know how many she had.
Okay.
The only thing I know is that in the winter time, more than once, if it had snowed, it'd be a foot of snow.
Sure.
Dottie and I agreed that we would take the kids out and we would walk around the school 10 times. Because there was no recess.
Oh, but you just needed to
We needed
some
fresh
energy.
air.
Yeah.
And so, a single file, we walked around that schoolhouse. I think the upper grades went first, and we'd go around and it was 10 times and go back in. I remember that Dottie told me that one of her little boys, in the third grade, I think, or second or third grade, he came to school the next day after wandering around the schoolhouse and said, I don't know, my dad said he doesn't know why you took us outside because we don't even put the cows out when the weather's like that.
Oh, well, I think it was probably a good idea, though.
Yeah, there was a hill in the back of the schoolhouse, and sometimes we would, if we made arrangements ahead of time, I'd get an okay for us to open the gate, and we'd bring our sleds.
Oh, yeah, and you let them do some sledding?
Well, they still had, I didn't just let them do the sledding. They had to give up recess in the morning and in the afternoon, and they had to give up their, I'll call it recess at noon. We would eat, and then we'd go back to school. So we had the same number of hours in school.
Right. Yeah, make up the time. Yeah.
And then we'd be ready to go outside and sail down that
That's
hillside
great.
on a sled.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That was more fun.
Yeah, fun memories.
We did that a lot.
Yeah.
One time we went ice skating.
Yeah? Was there a pond close by then?
No, I don't know. It was a mile or so away.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The town of Broughton no longer exists, lost through the construction of the Milford Dam. And country schools are a thing of the past, but Marian has many fond memories of her time teaching there, and we thank her for sharing a few of them today on Around Kansas. I'm Jamie Bloom. Thanks for tuning in.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Trust and leadership are critical to success at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center in Manhattan. Just ask Coach Bill Snyder.
People of the Regenerative Center do care about others. I've been highly impressed with those people that have that vested interest and try to help people become better. The center really is a wonderful thing here in Manhattan, first of its kind, and we're on the cutting edge of what lies ahead.
Find out more about the trusted leader in stem cell therapy at kansasrmc.com. Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
I thought I'd seen it all, and then I got a call from a guy in town. He said, "We want you to come help us do goat yoga." I said, "Goat what?" Yes, goat yoga is a thing. So we rounded up some goats, we went into town and built a pen and watched it happen. This poem is called You Go, Yoga Goat. I thought I had seen everything, but I was surely wrong, because I found something new when goat yoga came along. We brought our goats to town and we put them in a pen, where a bunch of people came and brought their mats on in. Folks laid down on their mats and the instructors helped them move through various positions, health and wellness to improve. They would roll and move their body into various contortions, which seemed to help them stretch by increasing proportions. The goats would mill around them for however long it took, while giving all the people a sniff or just a look. When folks got on their hands and knees to make a tabletop, the goats jumped on their back and they didn't want to stop. It was the first time seeing yoga. I am sure to note that I never, ever, ever had seen yoga with a goat. Happy trails.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Sometimes I get to be the interviewee, and that's what happened the other day at KSNT television in Topeka when Hannah Brandt interviewed me for an upcoming, I think any day now, watch Facebook and I'll let you know exactly when, special that she is doing on Native American History Month. And I thought, well, I think I'll just follow suit. And each week this month, we will do a segment on some of Kansas' most interesting American Indian history. And there's just so many people I would love to talk about in the past. Alagawehu, Washunga, Satanta, Romanos. There are just so many people I would love to talk about. And so many of my friends now. Pauline Sharp presented the other day at the Fort Wallace Museum as her grandmother, Lucy Eads, the first female chief of the Kaw Nation. And just so many people doing such cool things in the past and right now, that there's so many stories, and I hope to share a lot of those with you this month. So make sure you watch this one and then stay tuned for the next 3 weeks.
The world of archaeology has been turned on its ear by the recent discoveries near Ark City. The lost city of Etzanoa, according to Wichita State Professor Donald Blakesley, was extensive with a population of around 20,000. While we thought we knew everything of our state's original residents, there is much, much more to be learned. We will share Dr. Blakesley's insights in the coming weeks. According to nativelanguages.org, the original inhabitants of what would become Kansas were the Arapaho, Comanche, Kansa, Kiowa, Missouri, Osage, Oto, and Pawnee, and occasionally the Cheyenne and Wichita tribes. Almost a dozen tribes were removed from the East during the 19th century's Indian removal policy and moved to Kansas. Now, Kansas is home to 4 tribes: the Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska, the Kickapoo, the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation, and the Sac and Fox Nation. Their reservations are primarily located in the northeastern corner of the state. The tribe for whom our state is named was relocated to the Indian Nations, or the Indian Territory, which became Oklahoma decades ago. Their story is told through the Calm Mission State Historic Site in Council Grove, and the tribe has purchased some of their original ground nearby and return regularly for powwows. Other historic sites that preserve the stories of these tribes are the Shawnee Mission State Historic Site in the town of Shawnee Mission, the Iowa and Sac and Fox Mission Site in Highland. Sadly, the museum at Highland is no longer open, but the grounds do have some interpretive markers. The old Potawatomi Mission is part of the Kansas State Historical Society grounds in Topeka, and of course the Pawnee Indian State Historic Site is in Republic County, Kansas. Haskell Indian Nations University in Lawrence continues to educate students from tribes across the nation, and many of its graduates remain in Kansas to make their homes and careers. The school, like the missions and other Indian boarding schools, has a mixed history, a forced assimilation and destruction of native culture. But it is moving into a new century with new goals, serving its students rather than indoctrinating them, celebrating their tribal cultures rather than deeming them inferior. Over the next weeks, we will share the stories of some of the individuals who made history and the stories of today. We will share books that really should be in your library if you hope to understand the American Indian history of Kansas and some of the Native Americans among our friends and neighbors who are making history right now.
Well, back to work, folks. I'm Deb Goodrich, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.